Hello, and welcome to another episode of the India InsurTech podcast. Today, we have with us Mayank Joshi, Regional Manager, Munich India, APAC, Korea, and Japan. Welcome to the show, Mayank.
Thank you, Nilanjan, for the warm welcome, and very excited and happy to share my views.
So, let's start by really appreciating the fact that globally there is an increased excitement and focus from RI firms in InsurTech startups. Right from providing capital for innovation to development of underwriting and claims operation processes to globalization of businesses, we see many areas of collaboration. What, in your point of view, is really happening, and how do you see this developing further?
First of all, I would like to mention a very heartening fact about the collaboration that reinsurers have not seen insurtechs as competition or threats. Since the very beginning, there has been an intent from both the sides, reinsurers and insurtechs, to collaborate and work together. And this spirit continues, and I don't see any reason why it should not continue going forward in future. Well, the collaboration will only intensify in the coming times. And as we are seeing a shift in customer pattern for the preference of a new age brand or a differentiated offering. So, like in fintech, the way you are seeing the advent of fintechs and the preference of customers to fintech, customers are also giving the same kind of chance to insurtechs to prove themselves, to present and buy their offerings. Now, this is driving growth for these companies, and reinsurers love to work with the growing companies. So, of course, that's why we feel that there is going to be much collaboration. And we also anticipate some bit of a tightening in terms of terms, some pullback on commercials. That's majorly due to some reason. There are some insurtechs and some of the new innovative solutions which are operating in the market, which have now become a reasonable size from the portfolio point of view, but haven't been able to drive the profitability from the performance point of view. So we see that there has to be some correction in terms of key matrices.
No, that's quite a point that you make, because we definitely see there is a little bit of squeeze around, more funding. So, as a reinsurer, in your opinion, how can you support, and drive such innovations with insurtechs?
There is an acceptance that there are new ways to look into the risk, new ways to distribute. As the times are changing so much, the data availability and the overall, what you see in the market from the risk point of view during the earlier days, there is much and more transparency which is available out there. So we try to support most of the new initiatives, sometimes cautiously, but sometimes wholeheartedly. There would also be a lot of things which our clients would have tried in the past and it didn't work. So therefore, we don't become ignorant to those learnings and we avoid repeating those mistakes. So with the access to global data and experience, capital and the will to invest in disruptive growth will be the key factor. Reinsurers intend to support this. They want to bring the transformation through collaboration. And this approach has worked well for us in the past, and we would continue doing that.
It's pretty encouraging to know, the point of view there, because I think, what really matters to these, firms who are innovating is access not only to capital, which is money, which is financial capital, but also intellectual capital. I think that's where a reinsurer can really do a good job. And it's good to see that you're doing. And that really brings me to my next question, which is around you helping us, review some of your success stories, which you have been, which you have seen through your investments in India and in the region. What's really working?
Yeah, not really much to show for Nilanjan, unfortunately. So far, Munich Re has only one investment in India, and that is ACO. And ACO, as you know, from addressing a very different cohort of customers and solving a very different customer segment for problem for a different customer segment, has performed quite exceptionally. Now, the success of execution and journey that we have seen in them gives us quite a lot of encouragement that we should look out for more such opportunities in the region. And as we speak, there are multiple opportunities that Munich Re, along with the venture team of Munich Re has been scouting and exploring. As and when we have a conclusion, we would of course come out with a announcement. But globally, I could quote and share some examples of what we have done and what we have seen working well for us is the investments which complements our core business, which allows us to underwrite new type of business or risks, or which gives us entry into new segments. So I think these are the key themes that we pursue. And to quote an example, Next Insurance in a US market. Now, Next Insurance is primarily focused on SMEs. And as an underwriter of risk, I'm getting more exposure or more balanced portfolio now with Next on board from the underwriting point of view, and that gives us an edge from the overall result point of view. Now, you another example of a company is Notch, and this is a very recent investment from Munich Re. Now, Notch provides protection for influencers, the social media influencers, the digital asset protection for those guys. Now, imagine an influencer losing access to the Instagram and losing all the revenue source. So that is the kind of the risk that we don't see from primary insurance company, the traditional insurance company, and even we would not have ventured out unless we would have those partnerships in place. So these are the kind of ecosystems that we go after, and we really see them working coherently well with a reinsurance setup that we have.
Okay. No, let me just ask a small follow-up question here. So you did mention about Next and their, the excitement around, seeing them succeed on the SME business in the US, which largely is ruled by the traditional large legacy businesses, right? Most of the insurance industry, at least in my industry, which is health, has been built around these corporations growing very large over time. In India also, we are seeing something similar. There's a rise of the SME health innovators. So do you see some traction there, or as of now you would like to hold that information for us?
No, we definitely see a lot of traction in the health tech segment in India. And from the market capturing point of view, I think a lot of these companies have grown pretty fast. They have been able. We had been very apprehensive in the beginning, to be honest, in terms of whether the consumers are going to be really liking the services. If the traditional insurance company has not been able to crack that market, then what is so different and innovative about these health tech companies? But those initial apprehensions are being resolved, I would say, and we are seeing them getting quite a lot of traction. And while we have a bit of a conservative view on the health, because you would know that primary insurance company usually does not buy a lot of reinsurance support for health. So as a reinsurer, you don't tend to build quite a lot of capacity, quite a lot of resource or knowledge base for the health segment, but we are changing them. We are equipping ourselves to have much and much more know-how on health segment, and then we would try to explore how we can partner with these health tech companies. But these are definitely an area of interest, and we are watching the space very closely.
Thank you for that insight. So really that brings us to the last question. How do you see the industry value chain for the future, in light of insurtech innovation? Just a broad overview should be helpful to really conclude today's discussion, and the podcast. Yes.
Sure. So we have seen that a lot of things in India is kind of following a path of West, of what has evolved in the West, and we kind of follow that trend. So we also here believe that the similar value chain will be formed the way we see in the other developed markets. Similar to MGAs, the insurtechs in India will drive customer touchpoints with acquisitions and claim experience. The insurers would drive the risk management and the underwriting along with the compliance, and the reinsurance would be more active in forging these partnerships, developing new underwriting assessments mechanisms, and with the data that they had never access to, the whole transparency in the value chain is going to just get better.
Thank you so much, Mayank. And to all our audience, thank you so much for joining us today. Keep watching this space for the next episode.